It's Sir Godwinson, live. News alert, folks. What a strange series of events that have unfolded since we last did one of these. I had a whole show lined up, a whole agenda prepared for all and sundry to see. We're going to get into that, and then we're mainly going to cover the sniffening that's just taken place. Even I am stunned. You can't write this shit, folks, because it continues, and what we've just witnessed was a complete disaster. Cocaine, it's a hell of a drug, my friends. Right, let's shut that shit off. So, where did we leave off? We left off reacting to PPP's doubling down his absolute defense of Andy Warski. He tied his wagon to that retarded horse. He placed his livelihood in his hands. He ensured that all friends were betrayed, so long as he had his bond, his unreciprocated love with Andy Warski, because it was a business partnership. It was financial security. I promised myself I wasn't going to say I told you so. I promised myself I was going to try and hide the smugness, but I'm afraid, like PPP, my face betrays my true feelings. I am feeling incredibly smug. I am feeling incredibly elated, because this, Ashton, is the face of a winner. Right, so he makes a response to my response to his response to my response. And then this is going to be a response to all of those responses. It's going to get very 2007, my friends. His response, he's literally foaming at the mouth last night. Foaming at the mouth. Foaming at the mouth. I'm not exaggerating. For me to cover it would be merely to take away from Surfer's really amazing stream that he did last night, where he examined frame by frame the foam emanating from Ashton's mouth there. But that wasn't all. That wasn't all. Because in the wake of the 6-minute foaming at the mouth stream, where he claimed that he wasn't angry, that there was no points to be addressed, there was nothing to see here, and it is what it is. Move on. In that 6-minute stream, he essentially tied his wagon even further to Warski. The line was drawn, and there wasn't any sense of coming back. There was no sense that there will be a walk back anytime soon. That's why tonight's events have shocked me. He doubled down. On his Twitter, he puts out a post saying that his new British BFF is Millennial Woes, and posts a picture of himself and Warski and some other no-name British celeb, I suppose, all standing together in the wake of this fight that happened in London where Salt Pappy really should have broken Andy's jaw. But they're the new lines. Millennial Woes was announced as the guest on Friday, I believe, and Ashton didn't need his old friends anymore, because he had, I am trying to keep it together, because he had Andy Warski and Millennial Woes now, the throbbing god rod. Millennial Woes. At that point, I thought, this is absolute nectar. At that point, I thought, flawless victory. Little did I know. Little did I comprehend what would take place next. And what takes place next is a rakeback stream, their Kino Casino bi-weekly show. Nick Fuentes documentary as promised. The eyes rolled even further into the back of my head. it was something that I wasn't even interested in watching. And I don't think the vast majority were. That's why they had sub 1,000 viewers the whole show. Little did we know that Warski would be railing lines of cocaine, quite literally, throughout the stream, to the point where they have to end the stream early. They have to cap it at 2 hours, which, let's be honest, should be a normal length of time for a show. But they had to cut it short. The donos weren't coming in. Warski was a stuttering, incoherent mess, more so than usual. And it was embarrassing. He was literally railing lines of coke live on air. They had one job. Put on a show, try and keep it together, and pretend that the Godwinson menace isn't there. One job. One job. Everyone, even the blind, were able to see that Warski was blatantly railing lines of coke live on air last night. It got to the point where Ashton, about half an hour ago, did a stream where he had to publicly address what happened. Now, it's a tricky one, this. It's a tricky one, this. But this is going to be a vote. It's going to be a vote. And then we're going to take another vote right at the end, once we've got through the stream that Ashton's just done. I want you to hear out the options before we say the numbers. First option. Do we let him rot? Do we let him lie in the bed that he decided to make? Do we let him share the shallow double grave with Warski that he so wanted this time yesterday? This is how fast events are rolling. Do we let them both lie in the shallow grave, buried alive, like the end of Casino, Joe Pesci? 1. Press 1 if that's what needs to happen. Press 2 if it's time for the long walk back. Press 2 if it's time for a redemption. A redemption. It's hard to say. A redemption. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. But press 2 if you think it's time for one of those. For our good friend, PPP. I'm not seeing many 2s. I'm not seeing many 2s. Deary me. Right, we're going to get into the stream. It's joyous to me, because what this is vindication, right? You can't call me crazy. You can't say I'm insane. You can't say I have anything but a valid point. If I can do this much damage in less than 1 day, what hope is there for this vast business empire known as the Kino Casino? So we're going to get into the stream that's just taken place. He calls it the Coco It's a No-No. My alarm bells rang, because if this was a public address of Warski railing lines of coke last night live on air, if this was a public address, how come it's not happening on the Daka Daka channel with all of the subscribers, where all of the viewership is? If this really is an address to the audience, an apology to the people that give them money, the people that pay them, why aren't they putting it out on their main platform, the main network, as it were? Why is it going out on the social justice PPP that hasn't been used for 3 years apart from last night's videos? Ones and twos, that's what we need to see. Ones and twos, because we're having another vote right at the end. So I'm just going to switch the camera. I'm just going to switch. Aha, fantastic. Okay, so there he is. There he is. It's the public address. Let's go. Can we hear him? I can't hear him. Let's turn him up. Bear with me. Ooh. You know, many would say that it's baffling that it took this long for him to realize. People would say that this is just disingenuous appeal to the audience, appeal to the crowd in an attempt to save his reputation. I'm not saying those words, but I think the face here sort of says it all, doesn't it?
Well, she's in love with the Coco! He's in love with the Coco!
It's a news alert, by the way. It's a news alert. We haven't seen Worski's cocaine habit documented for the past, 10 years now? We haven't seen him order or attempt to order executions in the street. But apparently it's news now. It's certainly news to him, right? He wasn't told the whole step of the way that this is who Worski was. No. It's taken till, October? Late October 2022 for the last man on Earth to finally find out who Andy Worski is. Do we believe? Do we believe?
Tartsky's back on the Coco! He's blowing up his nose, making me look fucked up. Went to bat for the motherfucker. Gave Godwinson a huge dub.
Yes, you did.
Gave Ethan Ralph a huge dub.
Unfortunately, you did.
Worski's back on the Coco!
But this isn't new. We knew he was back on the coke when we were warning you away from him. I mean, he was certainly back on the coke in July when he was inviting you over to his house to do coke off the parents' picture frames. It's not news to PPP that Worski's been on the coke. It ain't news. It ain't a breaking news Godwinson live news alert. But you can't ignore it when he's publicly been railing lines of cocaine on air, on your flagship show. But now we're going to enter this delusional land where we believe in the bumblebees and the black oil virus, and PPP has only just found out who Andy Worski is. Let's let's go on this magic carpet ride, folks.
Was my co-host.
Was my
Now he's
co-host.
fucked on the Coco. Paycheck's going up his nose. PPP's fuck, he's gonna be cold.
Winter is coming. It'll soon be cardigan weather, PPP.
Folks, can it really be real?
Yes.
Can this really happen?
How is it shocking that Worski's just done coke live on air?
Rip like 12 fucking lines?
His name is Andy
Right on
Worski,
air?
Ashton, your business
The day
partner.
after I fucking put my reputation on the line for him. And said that he was the more reliable, sound business choice over Godwinson.
You knew as you were saying those words that they were completely retarded, and your face at the time betrayed that. You handed me not only a W, but an eternal victory, Ashton. Your words are forever immortalized, licking the taint, 20 hours ago, of Andy Worski. Saying that he was courageous, he was a king, he was reliable, he was able to turn up to a show consistently and reliably, and you were going to tie your livelihood to Andy Warski. You were going to... you were going to ever deeper encroach yourself with the financial security that came with a partnership of Andy Warski. What a surprise that Warski's a cokehead.
Did that really happen? It can't have happened. Can it? There's no way that just happened to me.
It's the last man on earth to find out who Andy Warski is.
I'm in love with the cocoa. We just can't quit that sweet cocoa powder. It's a mind freak. My co-host is a cokehead and I knew all along and I'm an idiot. The massive L's just are stacking up for PPP. It's over. What am I supposed to do?
Apologize. Apologize not just to me, but everybody else you betrayed with your allegiance with Andy Warski. Apologize. That's the terms of surrender, eh? An apology. It's all we need. Maybe Warski's jaw broken, but an apology would be a good start for the long walk back.
What about, listen, there's no way this is so. Now listen, there's just no way. There's no way Andy actually just ripped like 12 lines of cocaine on the show last night and was so fucked up and incoherent that I had to pull the plug on the show early. That just, there's no way. But, you know, there's a bunch of timestamps in the comments of the fucking video.
Now, I just wanted to jump in here and make a salient point. He knew the whole time who Warski was. This is PPP of the internet. Of course he knew who Warski was. And due to his business partnership and his friendship with Warski, he knows exactly what Warski's been getting up to in his spare time. But this has become a problem that he can't ignore. It's become a problem that everyone saw last night. It was out there in the public square, the public space, as it were. It was something that he can't just sweep it away within it is what it is, within the universe, it is what it is. This was a monument. You can't sweep shit like this up. When your co-host, when your boss, Ashton, is railing lines of coke on air, when he had one job, just to try and keep it together in the wake of the frenzy, the shitstorm that's happened since the Carolean Age was hailed, was ushered in. It's not only disingenuous to pretend that Warski's only just now entered Ashton's mind as a cokehead. It's not only disingenuous, but it's lying to the audience. It's lying to them. Are you seriously going to sit there and pretend you didn't know who Warski was and pretend that people weren't telling you the whole way along this is exactly what would happen? Almost to the letter, this is exactly what we told you would happen. You ignored everything, all of the advice, and now it's happened, and this is your face. Let's go.
Finding out times Andy took a fucking rip. But I don't believe it. Andy told me last night, guys, he was drinking boxed wine under the table.
He was just snorting boxed wine, guys.
So fucked up.
And you had
because he was stressed.
He had, like, no shame or dignity left because he's become a milk-fed gimp to Warski that he didn't question. He didn't question that. when you've got this is incredibly difficult to try and keep it together, but when you've got your co-host, you're under pressure, you need to deliver something, a good show, just keep it together for one night. That's all you have to do, one night. You only deliver a show for 2 nights of the week anyway. Just keep it together for one night. All your co-host had to do was just turn up, not do anything crazy. But when he goes to you and says, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drink a box of wine under the table, as you're talking about Nick Fuentes and Ralph. I'm just going to occasionally do that and then pop up and go, American BGMs, my usual contribution. But I'm just going to be drinking a box of wine under the table. And this guy took it. He took that like a bitch. He just took it like a bitch. Now, it does make me laugh that Warski betrayed, Ashton's, what would you call it, trust? And just completely disregarded the box of wine where you can audibly hear him sniff the Coke 12 times. To be honest, if my co-host had come to me and said, okay, on the show tonight, I'm just going to be doing a box of wine under the table, I'd have said, get the fuck out of here. Goodbye. Get it together.
They were calling him Tardsky. Well, let's have a look, folks. So we got timestamps here. Hour and 15 minutes. So let's have a look at an hour and 15 minutes on the show last night.
Yeah, let's all observe this.
Let's have a look at what happened here.
It's Streamception, fellows. So this is Warski, eh? Let's keep an eye on Warski.
This was an obvious joke, okay? I like that as a joke on my public account because I knew people would see it. It was just a joke.
BGM. So he's slurring his speech, right?
It's not the first time though either. Like, there's clips out there I played. Like,
Right, there he goes.
Wait.
There he goes.
Oh no.
The first line. The first round. You can hear Ashton in the background trying to deliver the show.
So he appears to be bent over. Looks like he's doing a line.
Looks like
Pops
he's...
back up.
I mean, Ashton, throughout this, you're going to give... or you're going to throw out a few copes that you could perhaps sweep it up with when you reconcile with Warski. It doesn't look like anything. It is something. It is Warski doing a line of coke. On air, in 1080p, to an audience of sub 1,000 viewers, live, whilst you're attempting to say that, I don't know, Nick Fuentes is eating a French fry gay, in a gay way.
I don't know, guys. Was he drinking boxed wine there?
No.
That's what he's saying to me. That he's filling his wine glass.
It's unbelievable that you took that
Have a look
and
at-
didn't call him out live on air. Because you saw him snorting the lines of coke. And then he's got to type back to you. It's a box of wine that you didn't have the nerve, like you would have done prior, to call him out live on air and say, bro, you're snorting coke on air as I'm trying to deliver this show. That you took his cope, that you took his explanation, his paltry dog ate my homework lies, that it was a box of wine under the table, and continued to do the show and debase yourself even further? What's going on, bro? What's happening, brother? You were the chosen one. Anakin. The younglings.
And another timestamp here. 1 hour, 25 minutes.
I mean, he's pissed. Not 20 hours ago. Not 20 hours ago did he have Warski's penis so firmly wedged between those lips that I didn't think it was ever going to come out. And this is the face of a man who's lost it all. He's walked into the casino, he's lost everything. He put it all on Totsky. And now he's a broken, bankrupted man. Now, keep in mind the vote. 1, if we should let him sit in the shallow grave, buried alive with Warski, like the end of Casino, Joe Pesci. 2, if there's a long walk back, if there's a redemption arc due. Right, keep that in mind. 1s and 2s.
Because what bothers me about this is that even if he is drinking wine, even if he is filling his wine glass,
which he isn't, and to keep presenting that as a possible explanation, it's nuts. It's nuts. And even your face, man. I know that you're trying, okay, to straddle the fence, in a way. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're trying to give Warski an out. You're trying to present the copes out there. You're trying to give him some benefit of the doubt and embed that benefit of the doubt in the audience at home. I know what you're trying to do, because you're eventually going to reconcile with Warski simply because the money's all in Warski's name. All of the accounts are controlled by Warski that distribute the money, and ultimately you both have bills to pay. So I understand why you haven't gone full scorched earth on Warski. However, to keep presenting the sweeping up, the broom, to keep displaying the broom in a way that even Shannon Gaines would have said no, it isn't a good look. And for this paltry public address that isn't even on the main network, isn't even on the main Daka Daka channel, it's purely here to sweep it up anyway. It ain't good. It ain't good PR, PPP.
it looks to everybody that he's fucking doing cocaine. And he does it about 6 or 7 fucking times. It's just disrespectful to me. At the end of the day, I go out there, I fucking put my reputation on the line. Against Godwinson, against people that fucking shit on Andy and say he's a piece of shit. And the show where all he really has to do is just get through the fucking show without a major fucking meltdown or controversy, just decides to get fucked out of his mind on boxed wine. That's what I'm supposed to believe.
That you'd allow him to get fucked out of his mind on boxed wine and not call him out of it. And that you'd wait this long? You'd wait until everyone has pointed out that he's literally railed lines of coke on stream alongside you? That you didn't call him out there and then is shocking. It's really startling, because this guy, prior, would have called him out there and then. He wouldn't have sat on the fence with the scorcher take. And you'll see that he says here, he loves Andy. He wants him to be better. Well, I don't love Andy. I don't want him to be better. If anything, I want him to do more coke. I want him to get on the heroin, the meth, the fentanyl, the speed. Let's give Andy as many drugs as he possibly can. Let's give him as much as he can possibly humanely take. Let's give him more than he could humanly take. Let's let him snort boxes of wine. Why the fuck not? The care and welfare of Andy Warski is not a concern for me. Not a priority one iota. Not one bit.
But to everybody in chat, it looks like you're going down for a line, bro. I'm just disappointed. Let's have a look here at 1 hour, 25 minutes.
He's disappointed at this, but not disappointed when Andy Warski murdered his infant son.
So annoying. You know, like, if you want to throw in legitimate criticism...
Well, somebody asked, why would he hide wine? Well, he says he didn't want to look like an alcoholic. That's what he tells me. But here's the thing. We can all tell you're fucked. You're fucked out of your mind. You're completely incoherent. The shit you're saying isn't making fucking sense, Andy.
Which, what's new there? What's new there?
And it's uncomfortable. You're snapping at me in rage. Your whole attitude was fucking shitty last night.
You snapped at me in rage. Right, so obviously oh, what? Okay, so I don't know why Whoopi Goldberg is now on the screen, but what an intermission, folks. So the stream ends there and is recommenced on this. So hang on, let's just reflect on what happened there. I'll switch back to me. Okay, so copes were presented. We were given the box of wine cope. We saw a narrative of events laid out to us. That was under pressure, had to do a show, had to both perform. Warski, prior to the show, goes, I'm going to be drinking a box of wine under the table because I can't cope with being called Todsky. I can't cope with the bee jams. I can't cope with another palace coup. Ashton accepts it, takes it like a bitch. Warski then, live on air, decides, fuck it. I'm not even going to pretend it's a box of wine under the table. I'm literally going to sniff myself into oblivion. Ashton sees this live, allows it to take place uncalled out, unpointed out. The flames rise. People pointed out subsequently that he's clearly doing lines of coke. Hours later, it warrants this response. That's what's happened. It became something that cannot be ignored. Let's go.
But as I was saying, like, I don't really... All I'm expecting is just, listen, let's just get through this fucking show. There's a lot of heat. There's a lot of criticism about you. And it just lets me down like this.
What a surprise.
You know, and I like Andy. You know, I like Andy. And I fucking went to fucking bat for this fucking guy. So hard. Put my reputation on the line for him this week.
You became his V, his gator.
And this
His
is what I
geek
get? Really?
Why be surprised when a snake
Really?
bites back?
Let's have a look. He's like attack. You know what, Kino Clips? I am surprised.
Really?
I am surprised, man.
He's really surprised, eh?
I am surprised. I am surprised.
Do we believe
And
that?
that's me being fucking stupid. 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 Clearly right now he can't handle the pressure of fucking running the show.
And he never could anyway. That's why you kept trying to fire him.
That's just the facts.
Organising the palace coups.
Folks. That's just the fucking facts. All the motherfucker really has to do is run OBS, not spurg out at chat, and stay somewhat sober. I haven't even asked him for full sobriety, which any other fucking job, anything else in the world, they would be like, you gotta be sober when you go to work.
Imagine not asking him for full sobriety when you've entrusted your livelihood and your future financial security in that man's hands. Imagine not asking for a basic level of common decency and respect, of mutual respect in this business partnership that you have staked everything on. I can fix him indeed. Indeed.
Do you know what I mean? I don't even care if he fucking gets somewhat drunk on the show.
Somewhat
But
drunk.
by the end of the show, when this motherfucker can't even read super chats because he's that fucked up and he's saying it's boxed wine.
His voice cracked there, didn't it? Is it cruel to replay it in slow motion when he goes and he says it's boxed wine, and on the wine his voice breaks? It probably is quite cruel, but we're gonna do it anyway. All right, we're gonna play.
If he fucking gets somewhat drunk on the show.
We're gonna play back
But by
speed.
the end of the show, when this motherfucker can't even read super chats because he's that fucked up.
This is Kino.
And he's
It's coming. The voice break.
box wine.
There we go. There we go, folks.
But I've seen Andy drunk. And that, I don't know what the fuck that was. Maybe he took a medication that made the booze hit harder.
What a fucking
I'm
coat.
trying to come up with excuses. I'm trying to...
Why come up with excuses when the truth is so blatantly apparent to all and sundry to see? Why not just call a spade a spade? Go scorched earth on this motherfucker and attempt to claw back some dignity from your already completely shattered and tarnished reputation.
Come up with copes for why today Ethan, Ralph, and Godwinson have massive victories, and I'm staring at a huge fucking L. And I can't find any. I can't fucking find any.
It's the bed you made, my friend. You better lie in it.
Let's continue through this shit.
Just call me a racist or an anti-Semite. Please, that's what I want to be called. Don't call me gay, because that would...
Look at him. He bends over again. Is he drinking boxed wine?
Don't attack me with what's an effective avenue of attack
Oh.
against me. No, attack me in the way...
What does this look like
So I can be
to you, chat? What does that look like to you? What does that look like? There are motherfuckers in the comment section being like, I was addicted to coke, and Andy, you were an inspiration to me that you kicked the habit. And then they look and they see that shit.
But you knew he hadn't kicked the habit. You knew the whole time he hadn't kicked the habit. You're only doing this because it makes you look bad. You actually say as much in this stream. Words fail me. They really do.
What does it look like? What does it look like? I love Andy. I still consider...
He loves Andy because Andy controls the money. And he wants his paycheck because he wants to pay for the flat. That's the reality of why he's saying he loves Andy. I'd be amazed. It'd be Stockholm Syndrome if he genuinely did love Andy at this point.
Consider him a friend. But he's got to get clean, just like I got to... Listen.
I don't think he's got to get
Andy
clean.
fucking doesn't have a problem telling me I need to lose weight.
Press 1 if
Because
Warski
you
should
look
just
at
stay
me,
on the
and
drugs.
I need to lose
Should
fucking
actually
weight,
pursue
'cause
harder
I'm gonna
drugs.
die.
I want to see lots of ones.
And
I'm seeing a
telling you,
tsunami of ones
if you're
here.
back on the fucking cocaine, which you swear to me you're not, and I'm trying to believe you, okay? But if you're back on the cocaine, Andy, you're gonna die,
Good.
okay?
Would that be...
I love you, man, but I can't fucking let you kill yourself like that.
I think many would
And
allow
even
him
if you're
to.
just drinking, man,
And it would brighten their
that's
days
alcoholism,
upon
and
hearing
that's
that
fucked.
news.
You can't be drinking like that on the job.
It's Andy Warski.
sorry.
Saint
sorry.
Warski needs to be kept alive to contribute what to humanity?
I'm sorry, man.
I think he should suffer the same fate that he gave Little Andy Jr. there.
Sure.
Little Andy Jr. wasn't allowed to
sounded like there was a
rail
sniff.
lines of coke live on air.
Like
Little Andy Jr. didn't get the chance to.
125.58.
His father murdered him, smothered him in the cradle.
Have a look.
And that's the
You
father.
won't be
right
able to
there.
probably hear it on this piece of shit.
No, attack me in the way I want to be portrayed so I can be the next Richard Spencer. Like, okay. Sure, Dave.
There's the a sniff.
That was an audible sniff. It can't be denied, Ashton. This was happening live in front of you on air. You didn't call it out at the time. I'm amazed. You've only had to call this out because everyone's been calling it out.
125:58 of last night's show, there's a sniff.
There's a sniff. The sniffening.
You know what, Jub the Nub? I could talk to him privately.
Now, just quickly, Jub the Nub is a very key player in all of this, and it'll become quite apparent that Jub the Nub is bizarrely some sort of weird puppet master that has gone straight to the heart of Warski and caused him, apparently, to do these lines of coke. Jub the Nub. On the gravestone there, Andy Warski. He lived as he died, snorting lines of coke and aborting his children. Jub the Nub.
I honestly think he's lying to me.
You think?
Because I heard a fucking sniff. And I'm not gonna fucking listen to an addict who's gonna lie to me. You know?
It's Andy Warski. He's been an addict the whole time and he's been lying the whole time. Remember what Coach said 5 years ago?
Let's play it again.
4
I don't want
things.
to believe that this is true, folks.
You don't want to believe that this is true.
I don't want to believe that it's true. I want to believe what Andy's telling me.
What, are you
But
retarded?
if a motherfucker
Are you brain dead?
is on serious fucking drugs, they will lie to you.
You think?
They will lie to you.
It's Andy Warski. Like, is this such a breaking news alert that this is how the man's behaved?
No, attack me in the way I want to be portrayed, so I...
There he is, just railing lines.
Okay.
Sniffing.
There's a sniff.
There's a sniff.
Jub, I'll tell you why. I
Jub
timed
the
you
nub.
out. Andy wanted you timed out.
Andy wanted you timed out. Now, again, it's a disassociation from the actions. I mean, he timed him out. He could have said no to Andy. You know, he was already being disrespected by Andy with the box of wine cope. The fact that he's then audibly sniffing on air. To then follow through with your master's orders like a bitch and ban Jub the Nub. Take ownership of your own actions. You're the only one that can ban on that Daka Daka channel, like, properly.
Now, I don't think that really helps anything to fucking ban you, because you're just gonna come back.
Yeah, free Jub the
But
Nub.
Andy was seething about you, and that's what that moment was like when he goes, "What the fuck?" and he turns on me. Why is this like it is? Look at the messages.
Winter is
Because
coming.
I wouldn't fucking Janny Jub the Nub.
You did anyway. You banned Jub the Nub.
That's why. Jub the Nub. And to be honest with you,
Jub the fucking
if
Nub.
this is your fucking job, you have to be mentally tougher than that. You have to be tougher than that.
Imagine being afraid of a man whose name on the internet is Jub the Nub.
It's weak.
Andy
You
Koksky.
know it's weak, Andy. Brother, this isn't right. You can't do this shit to me. Do you understand? You understand, like, the shit that I fucking went through for you, Andy?
But Warski never gave a shit anyway because it wasn't mutual. Your love was unreciprocated, Ashton. It was a one-sided partnership. You were there to do a show, to make the show, to get briefings from the writers, compile it all together in a nice little package so Warski could show up half an hour before and get 50-50 of all the money made. That was your role in all of this. Warski never, ever put on the show, never wrote the show, never went to you with an idea for a show. It was always one-sided. He always disrespected you. It's Andy Warski. Breaking news alert.
And then you do this to me last night? I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
The thing is, too, it's like it's tabloid nonsense.
This tabloid nonsense after this crazy. BGMs.
It's not like someone got you with a buddy and CGI'd the cat ears on the guy.
But it's true, isn't it? He's far more incoherent than normal, which is a fucking achievement.
I don't know, man. Guys, you just can't read the fucking chat. But let's go to 207. Let's go to 207. It's another one.
It's rough, buddy. It's tough. It's fucking tough. I thought there'd be a bit more of a fight, to be honest. I thought there'd be a few battles in this war. A few landmark moments. I didn't realize we'd be speedrunning the death of the Kino Casino. Over the space of, 20 hours, I think it's been. It's fucking tough. It's fucking tough, buddy. Also, the face of the man who banned Job the Nub. Live with the shame of that. Carry that cross, brother.
I mean, it just keeps happening over and over and over and over again in the stream.
Well, it's Andy Warski.
Over and over again. And it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Even if it's not... If it is booze...
It's not
it's
booze.
still completely unprofessional. It's crazy. What? How do I look?
You look like a fucking fool. You look like a fool who ignored everyone. Who stood by your man. And you just look like an absolute fool. But it's also not about how you look. Let's be real. It's not about how you look. It's about what you've done. It's about those you've portrayed. It's about the audience you've sold out. It's about everything that you've put them through. The shit shows. The no-shows. Everything that you've done. Now it suddenly doesn't all become valid because simply you have had egg on your face? No. There are a great litany of things that you need to walk back from at this point. And the fact that Warski's humiliated you, well, what's new? He humiliated you when you were at the ring, chanting his name. And he lasted, 27 seconds in that ring. Warski consistently humiliates you. The pickle suit, the fucking pod awful. Putting you in your place. Getting you to read aloud these fucking stupid super chats. Like a circus animal. Getting you to run defense for him. Like Anal Vape and Geek Fulu and Kyler. Him railing the lines of coke. Sure, it's humiliating. But only because just prior to that you'd gone so hard on the defense for Warski that you'd lost any shred of dignity that you had left. That's why it looked bad. It looked bad because of your own actions, really. Let's be honest.
What sort of respect do I have?
No.
Self-respect.
Zero.
When I let a guy come in and just shit all over me like this. For real. For real. For real.
It is what it is.
Disrespectful. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be this fucking guy's like fucking a guardian angel, fucking wrangler?
No, give us his head on a
Keep
plate.
him off drugs, a grown-ass fucking man?
Break his fucking jaw. Okay, we're going to see another line being railed in a moment.
You may have heard of it. For efficiency's sake, he will represent the mainstream rights. And on the other hand, we have America First. The limited immigration...
By the way, he's so fucked. Look at him. I don't even know if it is coke, really. I mean, what has he snorted here?
No, Ben Shapiro's...
Look at his eyes. What's he been on? MDMA?
are knocked down a peg or two to their rightful place as mentally ill. And they'll even stick their necks out to the
So there he is with the glass drinking the wine. So there is a glass and there is wine. I'm going to give him that. There is a glass and he is drinking wine. But
Clearly he's doing wine
this is
and
fucking
coke.
unacceptable. It's just not right.
It's not right. Winter is coming, and I don't want to be cold again. I trusted you, Andy, with my financial future, my livelihood, my security. It's not right.
It's just not right.
It is what it is.
I'm not trying to felt Andy. I have to address the reality of what we're witnessing. Which is a guy who's fucking clearly not, like, he's coming undone under pressure. Whether it's booze, whether it's coke, whether it's pills, I don't give a fuck what Andy does in his fucking free time.
He's just revealed everything Warski's been spending the money on there, by the way. Just gave an itemized list of what he knows that Warski's been spending the money on, so just keep that in mind.
You know, like, it's his fucking life, it's his fucking decision, but this affects our business.
Some business.
And as far as I know, Andy is fucking clean of coke.
What a cope. As far as he knows, Andy is clean of the coke, as he's just had to watch him live on air rail lines of coke with audible sniffs. But as far as he knows, Warski is clean of the coke. He was just snorting the box of wine, guys. As far as he knows, Warski is clean of the coke. Heaven forbid.
As far as I know.
As far as he knows, guys.
But stuff like this makes me doubt when there's like 4, 5, 6 fucking timestamps.
It just makes him doubt,
the guy fucking bent over, looks like he's fucking doing coke. And then the excuse I get is, well, it was boxed wine. That's why I was spiraling at chat. That's why I was completely incoherent, out of my fucking mind on the show. The excuse isn't good. The excuse is shit. And it's fucking my fault for enabling this shit. And I'm not going to enable it.
I will never be cold again.
It's not going to be on me. Sargo is calling for fucking drug tests.
I'm calling for blood.
Is that what it has to come to? Is that what it has to come to? I'm not going to be enforcing fucking drug tests. That's fucking insane. That's fucking insane.
Bro, if your co-host keeps turning up to the show inebriated, fucked off his face, if he then goes on the show under the pretense that he's going to be drinking boxed wine underneath the table, and then instead proceeds to rail lines of coke live on air to an audience of 1,000 viewers, I think it's time to do some fucking drug testing. If it's a serious enterprise, as you keep saying it is, if it's a business, as you keep saying it is, if you've entrusted your entire financial future to Warski, as you keep saying, that's the way it is, do the fucking drug tests. Or is it because you can't order your boss to do a drug test? Is that the reality of things?
Support Ukraine or stay out of the conflict, execute Zelensky, limited government, give Trump dictatorial powers. Shapiro is kind of like...
There he goes again.
Bent over.
There he goes again. Look, there he goes. How can you honestly sit there, Ashton, and say, as far as you know, he's clean of the coke? Look at what he's doing in front of you. Holy fucking shit. What a
It's
disaster.
incoherent.
He goes again. It continues. There, oh,
Come
it's just
on,
fucking
guys,
hit him.
come
Look,
on,
it's
look
just
at
hit him
this.
there. Look, it's just hit the guy.
Look at that.
It's just hit him there. Holy fuck.
That's how I get fucking rewarded. That's how I get rewarded for sticking my fucking neck out. Putting everything on this motherfucker. And in the moment of truth, in the clutch, when all we need to do is just not fuck up.
That's all you had to do.
I get that.
As far as you know, he's clean of the coke. We just saw him
It's
take
not
the hit.
acceptable. It's not acceptable for me to put up with shit like that. It's not acceptable for the audience to have to put up with shit like that. It's not acceptable for the people who pay our bills, who want to have a good entertaining show, to have to put up with that shit. It'd be one thing if he was doing coke and it was actually entertaining.
Is what? What? It'd be one thing if he was doing coke and it was actually entertaining. So, is this a way out for Andy? Is this what I'm seeing it as it being? Warski can now do lines of coke live on air, as long as he's a bit performative. Instead of getting him clean, just make sure he's a bit more animated. Does that justify it? Does that justify the line in the sand that you draw between you and Nick Fuentes? Let's not forget, guys. The amount of shows, the amount of hours they've spent speculating over Ralph's cocaine habit. Warski sanctimoniously sitting there and saying that he's clean, he ain't touched drugs since. He used to be a cokehead, but he's been better. He's gone a felt salt pappy in the ring. He's in the gym 12 hours a day. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. I am stunned.
But it's not. But it's not. Polyfrog says if you drug test him, he'll just fake it. Polyfrog, I don't want to fucking shit on Polyfrog, but Polyfrog was an addict at one time.
Holy fuck, is he
And I don't
doxing
fucking
Paulie
judge
Frog?
that.
Like, what the fuck?
You know?
What's
Everybody
wrong with
has
him?
their fucking vices and their problems.
Just doxed
And
Paulie
I get it.
Frog
I
as an
have
addict.
my own vices and my own problems. But when they start to affect your fucking livelihood, your fucking job, to a critical degree like that, at a moment of truth, when we're on a campaign against Godwinson,
A campaign against Godwinson. What a strong start to that campaign, by the way. 10 out of 10.
prove that you deserve to be the co-host of the show, and then you just, instead of turning up, fired up, and fucking excited, like I was, instead of taking it as motivation to be better and to win, you have a fucking loser mentality.
But that's how he's always been. You knew this. You knew this is what Warski does.
Man.
When did Warski ever, when you were under heat, let's go back to the Fagmenko happenings. When did Warski ever stand by you as a co-host, as an equal business partner and go, you know what, you've gone out on a limb and I'm going to defend you? Never. But when Warski's gone out on a limb, when he's had his ass handed to him after 27 seconds of silver, you batted for him. You didn't blink. You doubled down on the Warski support when you should have walked away. Holy fuck. Bro. Warski was never ever going to show mutual respect, was never going to reciprocate anything. Because he's a snake, and he's done it countless times prior. Anal Vape JF, the Chris Warski, Ian Miles Chong, Kyler, Geek Thulu, if I haven't said him already, Tonka, Cog. You know, all of these faggots that were once Warski's bedfellows. Ralph, right? Gator. That he snaked on. He couldn't have been closer to a group of people than he was to Ralph just prior to your fucking union. Ralph literally picked him out of the gutter when he had nothing. And Wolski was playing guard defense for the entire time that we were fighting that war. All throughout the sex tape stuff. Throughout absolutely everything. Throughout when Ralph is going 10 out of 10, would flag again. Throughout all that shit, Wolski was there, sweeping it up alongside Gator. And you just decided to take him in without calling him out on any of his crimes. Do you know what? I'd rather have Wolski and Gator have stayed where they were, at Ralph's side. I can't stand a fucking traitor. You know this. And there was never going to be a home on my side of the fence for someone like Wolski, for someone like Full Fag Forever, for someone like Gator. You betrayed that for a nickel, and now you got to live with it. You got to live with it.
What can you even say? No, Paulie's right. You can hear him sniffing. You can hear him sniffing. It was at 2:58. I said it earlier. You can hear him sniffing. I won't be lied to. I won't be made a fool like this. I won't be made a fool of like that in public so that Ralph can post on Twitter, Kokeski's back on the blow. Why? Because Godwinson shit-talked you? The chat called you Tardski? The chat says an awful lot of mean things about you. You hear me fucking spiraling at Jub the Nub out of fucking nowhere?
Didn't you sweep Job the Nub?
That's crazy, man. That's fucking crazy. And to think that I'm going to fucking lay down and take that shit and I'm not going to call it out for what it is unprofessional publicly? You got another thing coming, dude. The entitlement and the disrespect and the lack of effort is shocking. It's fucking appalling. It's appalling. I still think, like, listen, I still love Andy. I wish him the fucking best.
I wish he'd give you my share of the money. But
I'm not enabling that. Why? So he can fucking kill himself on fucking drugs?
I think he should enable this.
Well, do you know, you say, why don't you talk about with him in private instead of grilling him on stream? Because he's publicly doing drugs on stream. It's a public problem. It makes me look like a fucking joke. And in fact, I am a fucking joke for allowing it.
The fact that he's had to sit there and say, not 20 hours into this war, that he's a fucking joke. That he points at himself and says he's a fucking joke. Holy shit. We're speedrunning this, by the way. It might be a 9 days war.
I am a fucking joke for allowing the charade to go on as long as it fucking did. Last night, that show was shit.
It's always
It was
shit.
shit.
It's always
Did
shit.
Andy prep anything on that show? No.
He never does.
Well, actually, he did. He brought in the one clip with
One
the fucking
clip.
Pepsi and the milk, so that's not
Pepsi
true.
and milk.
But did he...
Wolski's contribution.
actually give a fuck last night? No.
He never does.
He didn't give a fuck. There's no passion there.
Sandy Wolski, what did you expect?
When you don't do your job right, it's fucked.
The fact they call this a job, I mean, holy
And all I'm saying is that Andy needs to be fucking sober. And until he can actually find some way to prove to me that he's actually, like, taking sobriety seriously, taking this opportunity seriously, and he's not just taking me for granted, taking me for a ride, taking the piss, I'm through with that. Fuck that. I'm not here to fucking bring in, oh, that Andy did this, Andy did that, Snake Andy. But I'm not here to be a fucking fool. I'm not here to be taken advantage of, and I'm not here to be fucking lied to by an addict.
Too late. Too fucking late.
Now, it doesn't help matters. In Andy's defense, the Nick clip we were playing has a lot of Nick sniffling in it. It does. And maybe that accounts for the fucking sniffs.
Can you hear this cope, by the
But
way?
come on, man. If it looks like it does...
Maybe it's Nick Fuentes that's sniffing the coke live on air. Maybe it's Nick Fuentes that's saying it's a box of wine under the table. Maybe if we just keep pointing at Nick Fuentes and Ralph in an attempt to excuse away our problems, they'll just go away. Maybe it's Nick Fuentes, guys, doing the sniffing and not Worski.
Looks like a duck. It's probably a motherfucking duck. And most people are going to believe it's a fucking duck, even if it's different. Even if you were just fucked up drunk. It's still not acceptable, man. You need to be able to handle your liquor, handle your fucking drink, handle your drugs. You're 34, brother. You're 34. I don't say that to fucking shame you. I just say that to wake the fuck up.
Why would pointing out Worski's age shame him? He's 34. He's a grown-ass man. He aborted his infant son. He tried to order a man's execution live in the street on a stream. Sandy Worski, why would he be ashamed that he's 34 years old?
How many more opportunities are either of us going to have to
This
make
is
the sort of money that
The
we're
last
making
chance saloon, trust me.
and to entertain as many thousands of people as we're entertaining?
Sub
For you to
1,000.
piss it away like that.
We always knew this was going to happen.
It's pissed away.
Snorted
Down the
away.
toilet.
Up his nostrils.
So far as the future of the Keno Casino is concerned, it is in absolute limbo.
How can it be in
Absolute
limbo? We've just seen it go up in flames, razed to the ground. This is a stream coming at you live from the ashes. How could it be in limbo?
I will not be made to be a fucking joke and a retard like that. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. There's another one. I think. See here. No, this is the same. Listen.
It is what it is.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day.
It's a joyous day. It's a fucking joyous
I
day.
didn't want to have to fucking do this.
I
Sad
did.
day. But
Is anyone sad that this has taken place? I think people are out in the street with bunting and flags. I think there's street parties going on around the world.
you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. You gotta take it more seriously.
You got to take this show about
Man,
Ralph
I
and
fucking
Fuentes
speak
seriously.
A lot on you, Andy. I'm just so disappointed, dude. That's all. That's all. I'm just disappointed. I'm not here to spill your secrets. I'm not here to snake you. I'm just calling that out for what it is, which is bullshit. It's unfair to me, unfair to the audience, unfair to our donators. Makes me look retarded. It gives our enemies victories. Gives Ralph a big win. Gives Godwinson a big win. I can't defend it. I will not sweep it up any longer.
Any longer. The qualification there.
My broom hand is tired.
My broom hand is tired. Holy fuck.
That's it, Purse. All he had to do is show up coherent. This is not hard. This is not rocket science. We do a fucking show playing clips about Ralph and Fuentes. We make fun of it. You read the super chats. We split the money. Man, what a disaster.
What a
What
disaster.
a fucking disaster. I'm done. Talk to you later.
Okie dokie. Right. I'm just going to switch this back to me. Bear with. Right. So now that we've reached the end of whatever the fuck that was, the public address, the live snaking on Warski, the disavowal of Warski, we're going to go back to that vote that we presented right at the top of this. We were going to say, 1, let them share their shallow grave. End of Casino, Joe Pesci style. 2, brothers thrown in that grave alive. Dirt shoveled on them. Let them share their fucking fate. That was 1. 2, if it's time for him to start the long walk back. If there's a redemption arc. What are we going to allow? Because it's in your hands. It's entirely in your hands. 1, let him die. 2, bring him back. What do you want to see, folks? I'm seeing far too many wants. I'm seeing far too many. I might have to do a count, actually, at the end of the stream, when the dust has settled, and I'll post the results right at the end. I think it's kind of fucked what's taken place. I think it's not news that Warski is Andy Warski, and to pretend that he's been anything different is quite disingenuous. To pretend that you're the only man who didn't know who Andy Warski was up until about, last night, when he's literally railing lines of coke in front of you, then to clutch your pearls and say, I can't believe he's done this to me. I think that's pretty fucking disingenuous, and I think the audience can see that. I think everyone else can see that it's pretty fucking snaky. I'm always of the opinion that if you're going to tether your wagon to someone, betray your previous allegiances, fully tie that wagon to a retarded horse like Andy Warski, then you need to not betray them. That's